Yes. Okay, now we're recording.
Alright, so I'll start off by saying that I was a very physical kind of guy. I played basketball in my 30s, twice a week, full court basketball with guys that were my age, and quite a few of them were younger. And I kept up. I was a good jumper, good shooter. I could run back and forth without getting winded. And I was just turning 41 that summer, and we took the break because there was no air conditioning in the gym, and laid off of basketball until the middle, towards the end of September. And I started playing, but I noticed that my ability to do what I used to do 2 or 3 months before that was disappearing on me. I was getting winded. I couldn't jump very well anymore. I couldn't shoot the distances that I was shooting. And I struggled for that whole period of time. And when the next summer came, I decided that I was finished playing basketball because I just couldn't do the things that I used to do anymore. And it became increasingly difficult, losing muscle over a period of time, that I was concerned. I went to doctors, and doctors told me that blood tests and everything were normal. I wound up in later years having full body scans, and nothing showed, not even arthritis. And yet I was in pain all over my body. My tendons were hurting all over, from my neck all the way down to my feet. And the only thing that would help, I had found magnets. Somebody, my chiropractor, showed me some magnetic stuff, and I put magnets inside of my shoes, and it took away a lot of the pain that I had in my feet. So I started using magnets in different areas, and it kind of quelled some of the pain, but still my muscles were atrophying. I started getting, even my brain wasn't working right. My eyes were getting weak. I had brain fog. I stopped reading because I couldn't concentrate anymore on what I was reading. And I was even, I'm also a bowler, and I went from a 210 average down to a 168 average towards the end, which was 13 or 14 years later. I would go bowling, but I would literally fall asleep between each time I threw the ball. And my teammates used to call me Dead Man Bowling, because I would get very gray. I would try to eat some sugar, candy, chocolate, try to keep my energy up. And it didn't help much, but at least I got through, whatever I was doing. And I would be fatigued for a couple of days, very, very much more fatigued for a couple of days after bowling. It was down to only one day a week. And I guess it was in the summer of the 14th year, I was on vacation down the shore, and because I couldn't sleep at nights, I would be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, even on my vacation. As soon as the sun came up, I was up. And it was a Sunday morning, and I went to get the Sunday paper, and I was reading the paper, and all of a sudden I came across a full-page infomercial. And the top of the page said, "Do you have fibromyalgia?" So being that I was always interested in medicine, my daughter's a doctor. I read most of the books that she had in school. I started reading it, and it had a bunch of things that you could be suffering from. There were 18 altogether. And I started reading down. I had the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down to 17 things that you could be suffering from. I didn't have the 18th because it was for women only. And it like took a weight off my shoulders, because none of the doctors ever knew, or kind of even thought or knew what fibromyalgia was. And I started looking for books to read, and I started doing research myself. I got on a computer, started looking for things that were caused by fungus and yeast, because there were a couple of things in that infomercial which talked about nails, feet nails, dandruff, psoriasis, and I started researching on a computer. Like I said, I went looking for research in mycology, and I did this research. I must have read 200 papers from institutes all over the United States, especially those in the northwest of the United States, where it's very humid and very moldy. A couple places in the southern area also, where there's a lot of fungus. And all of these research papers were on fungus and what it can do in the body. At the time, there were only 10 or 20 different types of fungus that could live in the body. But coming up to now, which is about 15 to 16 years later, there are more than 300 or 400 different types of fungus that can live in the body. And fungus can do a lot of things to us. Fungus also includes the yeast that we have in our gut, which helps us digest our food. And fungus produces the same 32 enzymes that we produce in our body. And it can actually control our body functions. It can actually tell us that we're hungry and tell us that we want to eat. Excuse me. We want to eat junk food. We want to eat pizza, potato chips, pasta, anything that's a carbohydrate or a sweet that what do you call yeast needs to survive. And I found out in some of the research that many people who had gone through a lot of antibiotics had problems with yeast and other types of fungus, because the antibiotics kill the good bacteria, which is acidophilus, in the gut, and the fungus and yeast go into an overload, and get out of the gut, get into the system, but they don't live in the blood. They find a place to hide. Most of the times it's around the joints in the beginning, and it doesn't bother anything for a while until it creates a good, what would you call it, a colony, a strong colony, and it reacts with the tissue where it lives because it produces the opposite electrical charge that the human body does. And what happens is that when the nerve impulses come to that area and hit the negative charge, the nerve automatically relays it back to the brain, and it goes back as pain. So you're suffering from pain when there's really no damage being done. Like I said, I had full body scans. I didn't even have arthritis, and the doctors couldn't understand why I was getting all of this pain, until there were other articles that came out with this fibromyalgia, which originally the doctor that put the infomercial in was called Dr. Ali. He was based in New Jersey, in Denville. But he charged like $6,000 to do all of his testing, which was not covered by insurance, so it was a little prohibitive for me in my situation. As you can see that I'm a barber. So from July to January, I was doing some research and then started talking to my pharmacist. And the pharmacist was very surprised that I knew so many terms, and became interested in my plight. And we found some refrigerated acidophilus, and we ordered it, and I got it on a Wednesday morning, and I started taking 2 pills at a time. And on a Wednesday I took 4 pills. Thursday I took 6 pills. Friday I took 6 pills. Okay. Saturday morning I woke up and 95% of the pain was gone in my body. And I was absolutely flabbergasted that it could work so fast and that I could feel so good so quickly. And the more I took, the better I felt. My eyesight got better. My muscles didn't hurt. My whole body was changing. It was really, really great. So as I got better in the early, a month or two, I started doing some exercise, and I felt much better. But I continued to take the acidophilus, 6 a day, and my muscles reacted very quickly. I took out my bicycle, and I went for a ride on a Monday noontime, right after lunch, and drove around for about 45 minutes. And I felt good, no pain or anything. The next day I woke up, I had no pain in my legs or anything. So I did it again at noon, but I took an hour, and I drove around Hoboken going up and down hills and pushing myself a little bit. I felt good. Wednesday when I woke up, my thighs were hard. I had no exercise pain after 2 days of riding my bike, which I hadn't done in 10 years. So I was really off of it. I started doing other exercises for my upper body. I gained a little weight but lost some fat that I had. In the beginning, I lost 23 pounds of fat without going on a diet. So the acidophilus cut out the yeast that was producing all the sugar that the body was storing in fat. So I was using all of that fat up, and I lost 23 pounds. I kept doing research, reading more and more, and trying to find, other links and stuff. And in the early years, I had one customer who was in the Gulf War, military, who was out of the military, still in the military, but not on active duty anymore. And he was complaining about the pains he was getting, and all of these guys that had come back from the Gulf War that were going to the vet, and the doctors, didn't know what to do. They said that it was all post-traumatic syndrome and stuff. And I asked him a few questions. What hurts? What do you feel? All of these other things. And pretty much the same diagnosis that I had. And I asked him about, what he was doing when he was in. I said, did you have any antibiotics? He says, oh yeah, we had Cipro. They gave us boxes of Cipro to put in our pockets because they were afraid of anthrax. And we just popped them all day long, like they were candy. So I told him, I said, you know what, I think you have an overload of fungus in your body. You came from a country that has desert fungus. And you are probably overloaded with that in your system, which is causing all these problems. So I got him a bottle of what I was using then, and I also found another acidophilus bottle that contained was probably 100 times more active bacillus than the previous ones that I was taking, but I continued to take 6 a day. I got him a bottle of them and told him what to do, how to take it, and he came back 5 days later, walked into the door, put his arms around me, kissed me on the face about 20 times, and he called me Dr. Nick. And he said, how did you know this? How did you know this? I said, well, I did research left and right, and I know that the fungus is among us, and the fungus is causing all of this problems. So over the years, now it's been, I was 54, I'm 69 now, so it's 15 years that I've been taking acidophilus every day. I take from 3 to 6 a day, and I've been preaching acidophilus, and I've helped 4 people with lupus. I've helped many people with other stomach problems, major stomach problems where they had operations, and given them 2 different types of acidophilus, 2 different companies to work with, and they've all have pretty much come back to normal. It takes a little time, but it comes a little bit at a time, and you're able to do exercise, you're able to eat much better, you get stronger, your brain works better, you're able to do a whole lot of things that you couldn't do previously. And I could get 20 to 30 people to attest to the acidophilus wonders. And I preach it all the time.